because people are watching. People will follow us. Whether we want them to do it or not, people will follow us. So are we living in such a way? Are we running to Jesus? Are we looking to Jesus in such a way that people follow us? Hey everyone, so glad that you're joining for this moment of encouragement and inspiration. And we can consider this a sequel to what I just shared about posture, position, influence, or perspective. So again, that your posture in your heart before the Lord really informs your position of belief, and that then sort of affects or influences your perspectives. And when we posture ourselves before Jesus, like Mary did, and I can put a link to that, to that particular word of encouragement that I shared. When we posture ourselves in a posture of worship, what happens is we begin to posture ourselves to hear what He has to say. That really informs our position of belief, and our position of belief in His power, in His love, then begins to transform our perception or our perspective, and we can begin to see things from the eyes of faith. And so in thinking of that out of John 11, I was reading that again this morning, and I read something that just blew my mind. So I want you to just join me in reading John 11. I'm just going to read verses 28 through 31. It says, "Then she returned to Mary," speaking of Martha, because they're grieving the loss of their brother. So Martha has gone and has met with Jesus, has told him, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." She's had that exchange with Jesus. So now she's going to get her sister Mary. She called Mary aside from the mourners and told her, "The teacher is here and wants to see you." So Mary immediately went to him. Jesus stayed outside the village at the place where Martha met him. When the people who were at the house consoling Mary saw her leave so hastily, they assumed she was going to Lazarus' grave to weep. So they followed her there. Now, this sounds so plain, like, yeah, they followed her. But here's what caught my attention. They followed Mary to Jesus. They thought Mary was going to the grave, but they followed Mary to Jesus. Mary, in her grief, led people to Jesus. And she didn't even, I don't think she knew she was doing it. She was just running to Jesus to posture herself at His feet because of the pain, because of the grief, because of the loss. And in doing so, they followed her and she led them to Jesus. And here's what I love. I didn't even catch this. And when you read back to verse 45, John 11 says, "Many of the people who were with Mary believed in Jesus when they saw this happen." So this is after they've been with Mary. Jesus comforts them, but then He raises Lazarus from the dead. See, this is where I'm going. In your discouragement, in your despair, in your disappointment, in times of loss or grief, sadness, what do you do? Are you living your life in such a way that it points people to Jesus in the middle of that? Now, it is easier said than done. Honestly, when I'm sad, when I'm discouraged, when I'm disappointed, I either want to let people have it, or I just want to cry in a corner and let people feel sorry for me. And honestly, like, having a moment to grieve and to lament is important. It's just part of the process. But in that process, where we're processing sadness, or we're processing uncertainty, or we feel discouraged, or we feel disappointed, like, what are we doing? Like, is the way we're living our lives, is it even in the middle of pain, is it leading people to Jesus? Because people are watching. People will follow us. Whether we want them to do it or not, people will follow us. So are we living in such a way? Are we running to Jesus? Are we looking to Jesus in such a way that people follow us? This just caught my attention. I remember reading and writing this. I said, Mary, in her grief, brought people to Jesus. Mary was grieving the death of her brother, and when her sister Martha told her Jesus was looking for her, she ran to Him. The mourners thought she was running to cry to Lazarus' grave, so they followed to be with her. She was running to Jesus, the Master of life. People will follow us regardless of the state we find ourselves in or reside in emotionally. So why not lead them to Jesus as we go to Jesus ourselves? See, these mourners are the ones that witnessed the miracle of Lazarus being raised from the dead, and then as a result believed in Jesus. Our role, wherever we are, is to lead people to Jesus, and then God takes it from there. And we don't really have to do anything per se. We just need to live our lives in such a manner that people follow us. So are you leading people into your woes, or are you leading them into worship of the one who loves us, died for us? I don't know where you are today. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I have my own challenges that I'm trusting God for. And in that, I'm challenged to really think about, how am I living my life in the middle of the uncertainty of these situations, or the annoyance of these situations, or the frustration of these situations? Maybe it's discouragement or sadness. However, how am I living my life in such a way that I can use this moment to also lead people to Jesus? I pray that God reveals that to you in your own personal life, and that God even shares more about this as I've shared it with you, because it is blessing me even right now. Love you all. I pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful day and wonderful week. God bless.